phone's orientation for this live, and I didn't want to do it this way. I didn't want to do it this way. Anywho, I guess I'm gonna have to. Welcome, 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 folks, family, and friends. Rising Ground Church, Pastor Jamal here. We're gonna wait for anybody to show up, and that'll be it. So I'll play the music while y'all jump on in. What song? That just came out. That just came out of me, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Hey, people. Let's see here. Where? That's the little dog gone. I'm trying to get on this computer so I can see if, because it's not showing me if anybody is here. Well, there you go. House of Prayer. Hey. Good afternoon. Bree. Hey. Hope. It's going down. Hope is going up. Up with hope. Down with dope. Y'all remember that? Now y'all got to be like my age or older. All right, there we go. Man, I don't want this orientation like this, but we'll deal with it. Stephanie. Kiana. Hey, girl. How's Genesis? Brandy. Hello. Brenda. Is that Andoy? Hey, Andoy. Y'all know me in the eye, so I'm a see y'all as I can. All right. Oh, okay, but Brandy, that's fine. I'm not gonna be long anyway. I don't think so. But I always enjoy, seeing you, of course, and everybody else. He's doing fine. Just turned 4 months yesterday. Oh. Hey, Corey. All right. Well, I'm not gonna hold y'all. I just this is a real impromptu moment. It's usually impromptu, but it's a little bit of a thinking. This was really, really, really spontaneous. The Lord has told me in a few different ways, whatever I see in my head, then I have to go for it. I have to go towards whatever that means in that moment. So this is one of those moments. So I wanted to stop in to I want to see where this goes. I had a thought earlier, and I want to just serve it to you guys. I mean, it's divine flow stuff, so it's stuff that you might have heard before. So this is what this moment is all about. So let's dig in. So I have in my little notes here, living in divine flow is really just moving away from trying to earn God's approval and stepping into the reality of life with Him. At first, you might not even realize what's happening, but over time it becomes clearer. You've chosen to live from the free gift Jesus gave you, a life you could never work for or earn on your own. I'm gonna read that one more time. Living in divine flow is really just moving away from trying to earn God's approval and stepping into the reality of life with Him. At first, you might not even realize what's happening, but over time, it becomes clear. You've chosen to live from the free gift Jesus gave you, a life you could never earn or work for. So I was triggered this morning, and that kind of flowed from the trigger. There's so many different ways, man, you can experience divine flow, or you can understand it. Well, it's really like God has something to tell you, but God don't speak English. God doesn't speak our language. So He has to use our language, whether it's English, Spanish, German, whatever it is. He has to use our language to get to us. And most times why the Bible is so deep and so wide and it's so, man, is immeasurable is because what God is trying to communicate to you, words don't do it. Words just, it just tries to get you. That's why we spend a lot of time trying to understand things. And, when we think we got it, now we're kind of facing victory, and we want to experience what we really feel like we just got a revelation on, only to just touch the surface. How many of you have had that moment where you've literally felt like, man, I realize what God is saying, and you may experience a bit of breakthrough, but then it always seems like it goes back to something else. Like, man, I thought this was going to be it, but it's. I'll never say it's 100% of the time this, because again, God is bigger and wider and deeper than anything that we could know. But one of the reasons is because He's trying to communicate to you something that your language don't have a reference for. It's just inadequate. It's just inadequate. So this is why we surrender to God, to the Spirit. When you learn how to live by the Spirit and in the Spirit, this is why you have to do it, because God is trying to get you somewhere that your language can't get you. It can just help you to step on a stone, even a half of a stone. You stepping on half of a stone and you got a mile away, you got a mile down that you have to go. And don't let that discourage you, but just realize the truth of it. God is trying to communicate things to you that your language comes up short all the time. So we learn to live by the Spirit, because that's our only true answer. Because something amazing about you, you're fearfully and wonderfully made. So when you are living in the Spirit, when you surrendered yourself to the Spirit, and I wasn't even planning on going here, when you surrender yourself to the Spirit, then the real you picks it up. So whatever God is communicating, because God is Spirit and God is reality, the real you is Spirit and reality. So the real you has a tendency to pick up on something better. That's why I always kind of frown. Well, I'll say this. That's why I love this divine flow, because it gives you a reason to live by the Spirit, because you kind of get glimpses of the truth spiritually. And your flesh, of course, can't understand that. But even down to, what is it? We read, we pick up the Bible. I was listening to a conversation yesterday, and folks was going on and on and on about, I can't remember what the person that everybody was focused on was saying, but it was like literally, man, you've got to read scripture. You've got to get this in order to know God, which is true. It's true that you use the mechanism of the Bible to steer you towards the truth, steer you towards the target, which is God. But that's not all that God works with. So, and the real and the true place is your spirit. How do you think these folks wrote this scripture down? Y'all automatically always want to say, well, the Bible is God's inspired word. Yes. But who did it come through? It came through ordinary men. Just like you have a dream that God has given you in the night with keys inside the dream, you are a picture of that ordinary man. So you just have to allow the Spirit of God to maneuver you and guide you to where He wants to take you. And whatever He's telling you, it's going to be louder through the Spirit instead of trying to decipher it through language, through theology. And I'm not coming against any theology or the Bible. Of course I'm not, because that's what we've been given. But we're in a season, we're in a time. I don't even like saying season, because a season is really short. We're, for the rest of humanity, this is the horse that we're supposed to be riding, divine flow. And again, let's read it one more time. Living in the divine flow is really just moving away from trying to earn God's approval. We're trying to earn God's approval by all the mechanics of religion, all the mechanics of what we consider righteousness, because nothing else makes sense to us, because we're still trying to decipher God from a fleshly place. And I'm not saying evil, because your flesh is not evil, But a fleshly place is just, you're trying to understand the ways and the nature and the person of God, just how you learn English, just how you learn your language, just how you learn how to clean your house. If some of y'all do, I don't know. But anyway, that's what it's like. You're trying to make sense of something that the flesh cannot make sense of. And then, so trying to earn God's approval, and stepping into the reality of life with him, stepping into the reality of life with God. What is life with God? Life with God is simply living in and by the Spirit and allowing every ounce of fruit that comes from living that way to show itself. You know what I mean? Because the truth is, we're really not here long. We're really not on this planet long. So have you ever thought about, well, what is it that we're going to be doing after we leave here? If we're really here just a short amount of time, what is all this work for? What are you learning to live under the mechanics of God for? There's got to be something else too. And we ain't, heaven ain't like, we ain't just, because if we were created to sit here, to be placed in this earth, to have authority and dominion, to all of this good stuff, whatever that is, then that means we were not created for heaven. And I'm sure you guys heard that before. But the truth is, there's something happening. So you have to learn something here that is not only going to work for here, but it's going to be translated when we leave here. So I'm going to stay there. I'm not going any more that way. But the truth is, that's what it is. That's life. That's reality with God. And I said it first. At first, the divine flow you might not even realize what's happening. As you're living in it, as you surrender to it, you're not really going to know at first what's going on, because remember, God is deeper and wider, and he's trying to get us to greater degrees of him, greater degrees of truth. So you're not going to necessarily understand at first what's going on, but over time, as you surrender in the flow, it's going to become clear. And what's clear is you've chosen to live from the free gift Jesus gave you, which is a life you could not work for. I don't know how many times we've heard that and said that, but it still is not, it's not making sense. It ain't gelling. You know what I mean? And we're still hearing something other than what that scripture points to. And the truth is, you're only going to get it when you surrender to it. We said our ministry, our old ministry we came from, is called, she would say, die to self. And we've heard it, die to self, but that was the first time I've heard that term, die to self, years and years and years ago from our ministry. And it was like, die to self, die to self. So you're just dying again to your own perceived understanding of truth, of God, of even life here. So as you die to self, you're committing yourself to a life with God, which produces the fruit it's supposed to produce. So it is extraordinary stuff. So God has given us the mandate of the divine flow. It's which is a current. Of course, it's a current that we ride on with God. He takes us into dark waters. He takes us into clear, clean blue waters. He takes us into storms, but because he's the one that's navigating, he's the one that we're riding with, then we're safe. Remember Jesus in the boat. The storm was coming. The disciples was terrified, but Jesus, he's in the boat sleeping because they're with him. So, let the truth of that really, 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 really navigate you. It's funny how you remember those, you guys remember those terms or those experiences where people would say, man, right when the change is getting ready to happen, all hell breaks loose. And it's like, you're like, man, like, why in the world does that happen? And it's mainly because, I'll just use me. Like lately, well, me and LaShaundra both in our own little ways, but me, man, things have been trying to, I'll just say this, as the sun is peeking through, meaning I feel physical situation shifting. As I feel physical situation shifting, then I feel physical situations growing, like negatively. I'm like, why does this have to follow this, Lord? What's happening? But it's all about, I'm just going to say it how I understand it for myself. you know, it's just you're being qualified for your new moment. I don't like saying that because it always feels like, why has it got to be a test, Lord? I don't get it, but there's something into it. And that's another good, thank you. That's another example of God trying to tell you something that your language or your experience doesn't have a Rolodex for, doesn't have an understanding for yet. So I have to allow the Spirit to do the Spirit stuff. So when you're facing moments of man, like pain or trauma or just fear because nothing's changing. You could have been in this thing for 30, 40 years and it's like nothing is changing. And I'll say this, the reason why nothing has changed if you're facing a situation that long is because there's something that you didn't get. Now, that's God is not sitting back saying, shame on you, you didn't get it. He's waiting for the opportunity to really, really present to you what you didn't get so that you can exit out of this place that you've been in forever. And I think the main reason why we stay in things so long is because we're still trying to fight it from the flesh. We're still trying to understand it from a place that God is not at. Like God is, so when we live by the Spirit, we literally allow the Spirit to maneuver us even in the pain. As things are getting worse, or as things seem to be getting worse in your situation, what do? You don't fight and tug to try to figure your way out of it, because remember, a life with God is a life lived in the free gift. The free gift is you're saved. And if we're talking about healing shouldn't even be an equation. This is something that we should automatically be exposed to. But the reason why we're not exposed to it is because we're not allowing, whether we're talking about living by the Spirit in the Spirit, or we're not allowing the nature of Christ to be our GPS, to be our meter. So what that means is when you're faced with a moment that you're scared of, what do? You have to find your way back on firm ground. What's firm ground? When God tells you to read or to pray or to fast or to dance or to sing or to swirl or to spin, that is finding your way back on a firm foundation. Now, is that making God deliver you from your situation? No, because you're already delivered. It's making you, it's exposing you to the atmosphere of the place that reveals that healing, reveals that breakthrough, because you're always standing in breakthrough. You're just not aware of it. Or, yeah, you're just not aware of it, and you don't allow yourself to kind of really, really just sit with it, because it has to take you through some darkness, some dark water, some tough, even, traumatic moments to remind you that you're safe. So you're always safe. I love this idea. When I was writing that book, the little pamphlet, the Dwell, and that was just all about Psalms 91. The Lord had given me kind of a vision of what it's like to dwell in the secret place. So like dwelling, and the vision was, I was literally in the neighborhood, and everything was going off. You guys might have heard me say this before, but everything was going off all around me. It was bombs, it was murder, it was killing, and I'm literally 3 feet away from it on all angles. So from the top to the bottom to the sides and everything in between, I'm surrounded by hell. But yet the secret place allows me to be smack dab dead in the middle of hell, but not only not be touched, but I don't even see what's all of the chaos. He let me see it from the outside so that I would understand what is going on from the inside, because I couldn't see it because I'm in the secret place. He that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. What do I say? What is it? It's He is my God, He is your God, whatever. He's got you in this strong tower, in this rampart. A rampart is a fortress. And then you got the angels, being dispersed. You're freed, or you're safe from sicknesses and disease. People dying around you. Like, that's what it says. At my side, what is it? 1,000 may fall and 10,000 at my right hand. Literally, God is showing you a picture, because that is a picture of being in the kingdom or in the secret place. So God is letting you know that no, the secret place is completely surrounded by chaos, but you're not exposed to it. I mean, it's literally an inch away from every side of you, but you're not exposed to it. You see the glory and the power and the love and the truth and the goodness of God because you're always free. You're all because Christ did it. Because he did it, you're free. So we have an uncanny ability, and I could get it because we've done it for years, to see from the negative. We see from we respond from the negative, we see from the negative, we imagine from the negative. So then God has to come up on us and like shake us free from that perspective and get us firm on the other perspective. And I'm sorry if you guys are saying, or if you have questions, I can't see them right now because I'm just talking. So in a minute, if you do, I'll respond. But this is what it's like to live in the divine flow. It's a divine flow. That means God has set it in motion. He set it up. He set it in motion, and he pushes you out into that current with him, so that you can learn to systematically be transformed in the midst of surrender, because you've decided to surrender. And in your decision you got to walk it out. Yeah, the boat is going to rock a little bit and you may say, man, what did I surrender to? But remember, God is in control. He's not only in control of the boat, he's in control of the waves, and he's in the boat and he's outside of the boat. And that's amazing. So learning to rest there will keep you from being drowned in this idea that whatever you're facing, the end result is death, is hell, is sadness. No, it's not that. You have to regain your footing and remember who you are and what you are. And it's a free gift. That means there's nothing you have to do to be free. There's nothing you have to do to live in breakthrough. If there's any doing, and remember, it comes from being. So it comes from the nature of Christ. So because we know that Jesus had to do things, but it automatically and it always came from the nature of Christ. So whatever the nature of Christ will guide you to do, that's a given. That's just the beauty of living in the kingdom. That's the beauty of obeying and surrendering to God, because the thing that you allow yourself to do or allow yourself to obey will set you up for your next best place. So the object of this thing, man, I'm trying to get across, and I know I am, but you don't have to do, but you have to position yourself in truth. You'll know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. The truth is, it is done. It is finished. He did it. The work is done. Live from the finished work. And we heard that. I've heard that so many times. But again, when the Holy Spirit is ready, he increases the revelation. How can you hear something that sounds so simple, but it has an innumerable amount of layers to it? Or I should say, because you're on the ladder, you're stepping on this ladder, this divine ladder, but each peg that seems like it's something that you should know carries with it a new revelation. It carries with you a deeper and a wider thing. So remember, living in the Spirit helps you to navigate those moments. So I don't want you to worry about not understanding something because it's deeper and wider. You need to focus on living in the Spirit and by the Spirit, and that's surrender. That's surrender, and that's divine flow. So I don't know if I got anything else to say. I'm going to lean in and see if you guys have any questions. And if you do, please let them know. Let them rip. Nikki, you surrender to the turns. You never fight the flesh. The Spirit doesn't even need to fight the flesh because the Spirit is superior. So you never worry about, is that the equation, fighting the flesh? Does the Spirit have to fight the flesh? No. You said it right. You surrender to the turns. Surrendering to the turns is absolutely the best place to always be, because remember, you're in his hands and he's not taking you off the cliff. He's not going. And if God decides to take you off the cliff, then you better believe that He's going to be the wind. He's going to be the birds, the big bird that He catches you. He's going to be the thing beneath you that's down at the bottom. That could hurt you if He wasn't there, but because He's everything, He's going to make sure you're safe, because God's goal is to turn you into what Christ is to give you the nature. I should say it this way: is to help you to live in the nature of Christ, so that dominion and that authority that He said we're supposed to have, we'll have it, because that's the only place that holds it. It's the nature of Christ, and the nature of Christ says, I'm going to surrender to the turns. I'm going to surrender to these dark moments, because I know that that's not only changing me, it's empowering me, and it's making me just have an awareness and a perception that's second to none. So pray that made sense. Well, Scott, we need to have a conversation. So there are emails in the description. You can find the emails, because this is not a place to kind of answer that question, because we got so much going on. But Scott Hunter, email me and we'll talk about it. Let's see. Emily, God is waiting on you to surrender. You think that you're surrendering, but because you don't have nothing to do. I guarantee you, Emily, if you had finances and if you had a way off that farm, you would make decisions from that place. And the bad news about that is that's not the remedy for your transformation. So what I'm saying is, you're looking for something that God is looking to give you in a different way. So, and I'm gonna tell you, we're all in a season where God used to show up in mercy and deliver us in these ways. He's not doing it anymore, because the Lord, I'll say this again, the Lord had given me a song some years ago, and one of the true message of the song was, well, actually, He gave me something else. He gave me a word, and the song came years a little later. But what He said was, we've been here too long. We've been these particular type of believers for too long, that we've missed and we've let fall to the ground everything that the nature of Christ reveals that we should be. So God is like, I'm no longer going to just allow my mercy to leverage you out of a moment that you technically have the ability and the strength for, because remember, He already did it. You just have to live from it's already done, meaning you have to allow yourself not to be swallowed up in fear and in doubt and in shame and in guilt and in anger and in unforgiveness and all, because all of these things block God. So you have to live from that secret place, which is truth. I hope that made sense. And if it didn't, you can email me too. Let's see. Well, what else? What do we have? And remember, so I'll add this, Emily, to your second thought here. A lot of people have the same gripe. They're waiting on God to do something. But one of the things that they always say is they always say that I'm being treated badly. People are just hurting on me. They're running over me. They're doing all of these things. Even my boss, my job, my family. You think that being in God means that you don't have to deal with those things. And if you guys really are honest, that's what you think. You think when I'm a Christian, when I'm a real believer, then God is going to remove me from all of this trauma. No, when you are a believer, when you are a true believer in God, then what does the Bible say? He's made you more than a conqueror. So to be a conqueror, you have to have something to conquer. So we're put in all of the things that we are involved in all of their degrees of hate, all of the darkness, is because you are the power. So you are the power that is supposed to be exposed. The light on a hill cannot be hidden. You are the light, or you're supposed to be. But the reason why we're not is because we're so busy, and we're so busy trying to dig ourselves out of a hole that God is saying, no, I don't want you to dig. I don't want you to dig yourself out. I want you to explode out of this hole. Yeah, and how you do it is you do it God's way. I don't want to sound so empathetic or no so unempathetic or unsympathetic, but I do, because I do hear you and I do understand. We've been in oh my God, we've been in a lot of bad and hurtful and damaging situations. So, but knowing and being exposed to God's truth literally changed the game for us, and it's going to continue to. So that's what I want to hit home. All right. Is there anything else, folks? Let me see. Let's see. Let me, you say, have you ever exploded out? What does it look like? Oh, definitely. It doesn't look so supernatural as it sounds, but exploding out, it is literally giving in to, we had to learn to give in, not only to the flow, but to God's truth, to that reality that life with God looks like this. Life with God looks like this. Once we surrender to it and we started to, I'm gonna say, practice the moments, because it's a practice and it's a lifestyle all at the same time. I say practice because it's easy to revert back to fear. So you have to practice removing yourself out of fear. Or if fear is there, you still have the ability to go God's way, even with fear hanging on your back. So that just looked like for us it's a lot of different moments, but it's surrendering to this idea that God is literally going to take care of everything, because he put us on the course. And if he put us on this course, then it has to be secure with his provision in all of the ways that looks like. And because of that, then we surrender to it. And every moment we exploded out of the ditch, just like Superman. We just exploded out because we trusted, even in fear, we trusted that God is doing something and he has something going on here. So I will say this. So this is a hard place. Most people that are believers, in my opinion, that are not seeing breakthrough, and when I mean breakthrough, I mean just the moments where you are you're in some type of bondage, or you're in some type of restriction, and then here comes God, because you're sold out to God. Here comes God, and he not only breaks you free, but he moves you forward. So most people, in my opinion, that say that they're Christians, they don't have that experience because they don't know their purpose. Now, here we go with purpose. I'm like, oh. So I did say, and I do say, and I would say that the purpose is, the foundational purpose of all men is to live from the identity of Christ, which is really saying live from the nature of Christ. Now, who's living from the nature of Christ? Your identity. Now, what's that identity? The identity is the thing that God put in your mother's womb before you were formed. So as he was making you, he put something in there that was uniquely designed for you to walk through this earth with. Now, that identity that he made has to be fortified. It has to be surrounded by the nature of Christ. So when we talk about Christ's identity, we're talking about that nature that is plugged into the identity that he put in your mother's womb before he formed you. So you have to figure out, what is that? What did God put? Again, I've said this before. It could be a painter. It could be a fisherman. It could be a business CEO. It could be a clothes maker. It could be a pastor. It could be a prophet. You know what I mean? It could anything. It could be a counselor. It could be the thing that God instinctively and uniquely put in you. Man, it could be a glass maker. You could. It could be a what is it? A maid. And y'all think that that's insignificant, or like, God ain't gonna make me no maid. No, God has a lot of different avenues for a lot of different things. It's not just being a maid, but it's about what that purpose will navigate you towards, the people that you'll meet, the communities that you'll be involved in. Whatever the thing is, the nature of Christ is designed to take that identity and make it work. Make it work. So I pray that makes sense, y'all. It's a whole lot to be said, but I pray that makes sense. So that's literally how we do it. But we have to find out what that thing is. So this is why. Because when you're plugged into what God has you here for, and you're obedient to the instruction that comes along with that purpose, then God is obligated to see that you not only succeed, but you thrive. And that's where most of us are not, because we're not walking in our purposes and we're trying to figure them out. Where some people want to be so holier than thou, when your purpose is not to be a pastor. Your purpose is to be a deacon, or your purpose is to be a coach, a high school coach, and you allow the nature of Christ to do what that coach will produce in him, in them, in the students, in the environment. So, but when you're unplugged, and you're away from the identity that God put in you, then you really can't experience the faithfulness of God's delivering hand. Because God is not a liar. What does that mean? Because he's not a liar and he put in you a specific identity, he can't empower that which he didn't create. So this is why we have so much struggle, because where we're learning to understand God, we're learning to understand who we are. We're trying to figure out if I can do it this way, if I can go through the back door, if I can blah, blah, blah. And now what does that scripture say? What is it? The kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. That is a picture of everything that you need to be. Everything that you need to have, everything that you want is literally found in the kingdom. And those who are not sold out to the principles of the kingdom, those who are not sold out to the way of the kingdom, are literally trying to force their way into the good stuff. You're trying to force it, and it's just not going to work. But that's just a clue of how good things are, and the things that are waiting for you. But you have to plug into your purpose. You have to have the nature and character to swallow you, to become your character, to become your nature. And what that looks like, again, the nature of Christ, the small piece, is knowing your identity, obeying the instruction of God, operating in the authority that God has given you, that can only be found in that character, and receiving what God has for you with all of that. Those are the workings of the gears. If you guys remember that. So I didn't want to go too long here, man. And I really want to make sure you guys are ready. Let's see. If it's an action, I'm learning to. Okay, these are just comments. Emily, I'm gonna suggest you stop talking. Okay, stop talking, because you're digging yourself in a deeper hole. You keep regurgitating what's wrong, and you'll never get to what's right, because this is where you are planted in your mind right now. Have you guys ever seen Tony Evans? Not Tony Evans. Tony, is it Tony? I don't know. Tony. I don't know why I'm thinking of Anthony Evans, or I'm thinking of Tony Evans. Tony Robbins. It's Tony Robbins. So Tony Robbins has, in some of his events, he'll have this moment where somebody's talking and they are so consumed with their perspective that they can't hear anything that he says. So then he either comes to stage or he actually comes to the person, and he'll say something just like, say the person is talking about, I've been abandoned by my parents and it's completely destroyed me, and they keep regurgitating those moments. He'll come up to him and he'll say something like, man, did you know that yellow donkeys and black elephants literally like to roll around in pigeon dung? He'll say that, and then it'll jolt them out of the moment that they're stuck in. This is what you're doing, Emily. You're stuck in a moment that you're not allowing the truth that's being conveyed from this moment to help you at least to be freed from your agony. So stop talking. If you don't have nothing enlightening or illuminating to say, like, oh Lord, okay, so you're telling me that I just have to trust you, then don't say anything, because you're putting yourself in danger. It doesn't matter what you're going through. It doesn't matter what's happening with you. That's the fact. You won't get out of it because you're stuck in what you're stuck in. Okay. So, folks, I think that's it. I pray it makes sense, and it's making sense, and it will make sense. Go back and check this out if you need to. And again, reach out to us, whether it's for counsel or just, email us about something that's on your heart. We would definitely reach back out at you. But be prepared to listen. Don't, be prepared, because if you don't listen, you can't receive. Even from a practical place. If you don't listen, you cannot receive. So, man, I pray it makes sense. Pastor Jamal, Rising Ground Church, I love you guys. We love you. And talk to you on the next one. Bye-bye.